In today's global briefing, China's currency slides to a 17-year low, exposing financial fragility. Wealthy Americans are dying younger than their European peers, and not just by a little. A federal court clears the way for a landmark civil rights suit in the heart of Cancer Alley. Plus, London's elite are packing up, the FDA reverses course, and a nuclear bomb hits production targets 7 months early. Let's get into it. The yuan dropped to its weakest onshore level since 2007 after U.S. President Donald Trump imposed sweeping new tariffs, some as high as 100%. That triggered record losses in offshore yuan trading, prompting swift intervention from Chinese state-owned banks. The People's Bank of China responded by setting the midpoint rate at 7.2066 per dollar, its softest in over a year. Economists now estimate that unless the tariffs are rolled back, China's exports to the U.S. could be slashed in half in the years ahead, cutting up to 1.5% from national GDP. While the central bank's actions helped limit further depreciation, the currency still remains more than 1% down for April. Trump accused China of deliberate currency manipulation, while analysts warned that continued weakening may boost exports in the short term, but risks destabilizing China's financial system. Meanwhile, a landmark study published in the New England Journal of Medicine finds that wealthy Americans live shorter lives than their peers in Europe. Researchers tracked more than 73,000 adults aged 50 to 85 across the U.S. and 16 European countries. Though the wealthy fared better than the poor across the board, Europe's richest had a 35% lower mortality rate than America's wealthiest. Even more starkly, the poorest in America had the worst survival rates overall, falling behind the poorest in nations like Germany, France, and the Netherlands. The study attributes the disparity not just to healthcare gaps, but to broader issues like diet, exercise, loneliness, and chronic stress. In Louisiana, the Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals has allowed a civil rights lawsuit to proceed against St. James Parish. The case alleges the parish has disproportionately zoned petrochemical plants in majority Black communities, putting residents at heightened risk for cancer. The area, known as Cancer Alley, has over 150 industrial facilities stretching along the Mississippi River between Baton Rouge and New Orleans. Many are built on or near lands once worked by enslaved people. Plaintiffs are demanding a halt to new developments and expansion, citing excessive exposure to toxic air. The court ruled that the claims aren't time-barred, affirming that they center on a broader pattern of discriminatory land use decisions. The case now returns to district court for further proceedings. Across the Atlantic, London has dropped out of the top 5 wealthiest cities worldwide, losing over 11,000 millionaires in the past year alone, more than any city except Moscow. Among them were 18 centimillionaires and 2 billionaires. The exodus is being linked to Brexit fallout, economic uncertainty, and new tax proposals. Business owners like Charlie Mullins have moved their wealth to Spain and Dubai, citing fears over inheritance and estate taxes. London, once home to the world's most powerful stock market, now ranks 6th in terms of millionaire residents, behind New York, San Francisco, Tokyo, Singapore, and Dubai. Back in the U.S., the FDA has reversed a controversial return-to-office mandate. Staff in drug review and supervisory roles will now be allowed to work remotely at least 2 days per week. The policy change comes amid waves of layoffs and resignations that have affected more than 15% of the agency's workforce. Divisions handling everything from vaccines to food inspection have lost key leaders. The FDA is now scrambling to retain staff as it approaches critical negotiations over industry-paid user fees funds that account for nearly half its budget. Failure to reauthorize these fees could further destabilize an already strained regulatory system. In nuclear news, the U.S. has completed early production of the B-6113 nuclear gravity bomb 7 months ahead of schedule. Developed by Sandia National Laboratories, the bomb will succeed the aging B-61-7 and features improved targeting and safety systems. It's designed for deployment by stealth aircraft like the B-2 Spirit and the upcoming B-21 Raider, and boasts a maximum yield of 360 kilotons. The Department of Energy emphasized that while the bomb is more modern, it won't expand the total size of the nuclear arsenal. Its accelerated rollout follows the completion of the B-6112 Life Extension Program in late 2024. Globally, executions surged in 2024 to their highest level in nearly a decade. Amnesty International reports at least 1,518 executions across 15 countries, a 32% jump from the previous year. Iran, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia accounted for the majority. Drug offenses were the leading cause, making up more than 40% of recorded executions. The report excluded countries like China, North Korea, and Vietnam due to lack of transparency. Amnesty condemned the continued use of capital punishment as an outdated and inhumane practice. In sports, Harriet Haynes defeated Lucy Smith 8-6 in the Ultimate Pool Women's Pro Series Event 2 in the UK, marking a rare final between two transgender athletes. The match sparked intense social media backlash, including from swimmer Riley Gaines, who posted, "Congratulations to the better cheat, Mr. Haynes." Haynes maintains that pool is not a gender-affected sport and backed up her stance with an MIT physics report. It concluded that breakshot power doesn't define success in pool, where strategy plays a larger role. The match reignited broader debates over transgender inclusion in competitive sports. A 2024 YouGov poll found that 59% of Americans oppose trans athletes competing on teams matching their gender identity. Turning to breaking news, a suspect is now in custody following an overnight arson attack at the Pennsylvania residence of Governor Josh Shapiro. The blaze caused significant damage but no injuries. Authorities are treating the incident as deliberate and have offered a $10,000 reward for further information. In travel news, nearly 300 Delta passengers were stranded overnight on 2 international flights, diverted due to bad weather. The planes landed at a small airport in Montgomery, Alabama, which lacked customs processing. Passengers remained on board until about 5:30 a.m. the next morning. Delta has issued an apology, calling the experience unacceptable. And finally, a recently declassified CIA document claims Soviet forces may have encountered hostile extraterrestrials. According to the report, a Soviet unit shot down a UFO and witnessed 5 humanoid figures with large black eyes emerge. The figures reportedly fused into a single object before emitting a loud buzzing noise. The incident's authenticity remains unverified, but one CIA official called it an extremely menacing case, if true. In Ukraine, at least 34 people are dead and over 100 injured following a Russian missile strike on Sumy during Palm Sunday. The attack included nearly 70 missiles and numerous drones, most of which targeted civilian infrastructure. President Volodymyr Zelensky condemned the violence, calling for urgent international action. That's all for tonight's news update. Thank you for joining us. We'll continue to monitor these stories and bring you the latest developments. Stay safe, stay informed, and have a good night. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update.